So that's the legs painted. One thing that I nearly forgot, there's a little photo etch part that is fitted in there before that heater unit goes in. I nearly missed it. So let's try and put these two halves together. So what I'll do now is work along, adding glue. I'll let that bottom half set and concentrate on the top. Right, so it's the morning, so let's declamp all this. So my focus was on getting the front area and these areas level, making sure that there's no steps in the hole there. Same with that. I'm going to have to put some sort of blanking plate in there just to cover that seam. Other than that, it fitted reasonably well. I'm going to put some bits of plastic card plates just to strengthen these seams inside here on both of those. Just a bit of safety, that's all. Now the issue I've got is this seam here, if it will focus for me. Don't know why, whether that's my fault or what, I don't know. But if you look at the end here, it's joined beautifully. I suppose when I put the drive shaft cover on, that will tell me whether it's an issue or not. In fact, let's do that. We'll find it. Here it is. I just clip it out. Any particular way? So these two pins should locate in these two holes. Well, 6 holes, 6 pins. Wouldn't it be great if all seams on models would be covered that easily? But that just solved so many issues in one foul swoop, which is nice. So I'll get on with sanding that, which I won't show you. It's going to be a tedious task as it is. I'll get on with that. So that's everything sanded and filled. Worst areas, I don't know if you can see the squadron green putty. Was the bottom there, especially around there, the front there. I've rescribed the detail back in and reinstated the interpretation of rivets. I've wiped everything clean now with a damp cloth, so there should be no dust now lying around. You can see before I start all that process, I try and cover every opening I can and try and use the kit's parts as well. I've put the glaze bit on here, taped it up and then covered it in kitchen paper just to stop it getting scratched or marked. And the reason why I do all this is that there's nothing worse than a model looking like a snow globe inside, so it's something I'm pretty keen on in modelling. There's nothing worse than crap floating around inside the glazed parts. So I'm going to spray everywhere I've sanded along the seams. See all the blemishes, areas that need attention, and there will be areas that need attention. Once that's done, I can put that to one side and then I can look at these side fairings. As I said previously, this top area needs modifying. There's like fillets that all look like fillets that run all the way along from the front to the back here. These curve onto the body. They're rounded on the surface instead of scooped. Same here. Also, this area looks suspicious as well. It looks to on photographs anyway, this area looks like it blends into the fuselage a bit more smoothly rather than this sharp right angle. So I'm still thinking about that, whether I'll get away with not doing it. If I do it, I'm going to use the 2-part putty, but we'll be having a look at that pretty soon. My idea is now to use a curved scalpel blade, a 10, try and scrape a concave shape into that, and to this piece here, try not to break through on the other side. Cut these bits off, and then instead of cutting a big piece out, just cut out the 3 fuel caps, starting around here. They're almost a cap too high. So just using a rolled up bit of sandpaper. Yeah, looks alright. A finer grit and work it smooth. Let's take that bump off. A slight indentation there now. Just need to do it further side. Don't know if you can see that. Let's see the side done. So now I'm going to get off with taking these off. And then cutting these out like that. Excuse my wonky lines. Whoops. No, we don't want the gauge, do we? So I'll cut them out, rectangles, and then move them down so that top of the filler cap will start there. So I'll just clean this all up and get on with those 2 jobs. So I'll start cutting these bumps off. Do that for the other 2. So that's the 3 lumps taken off and sanded flush. Get on with these 3 pieces to remove. So I've taken a measurement from where I want to end this cut, and then taken that same measurement and applied it to all 3 filler caps. It doesn't really matter about how much the width has to be cut, but I want to be as far away from the detail as possible. So this one, for instance, really wants to be that sort of cut. So from there, I need to drop it about there. So I need to trim this amount off at the bottom here. Do that for the other 2, cut them out. I'm jumping the gun here. I should have shown you what I did when I lowered these fuel caps down before I put the Tamiya tape on and the sprue goo around the gaps. But you can see how much I've lowered it. It's a good 2 mil there. Now what I'm going to do, with the bits I chopped off at the bottom, glue them in position on all three, let it dry and add some sprue glue again on the top there. Let it all dry and then can sand it all flush. So that's the fuel caps lowered and the gaps filled with sprue glue. What a mess. So I'm going to let that dry and then sand it flush, and then I can tackle the last bit, which are the fillets. So that's those lowered filler caps all cleaned up. So that's all done now as far as the filler cap. The next stage will be the fillets. So the body's done. Checked all the areas, like I said, used a bit of grey paint, Mr. Surfacer, or any paint will do, just to check the seams. There'll still be areas like this, these localised areas that I'll need to do, but because they are localised, I can concentrate on them a bit better and control the dust and crap a lot better. It means taking all this stuff off, of course. Areas like round here, still need doing, round here, and round here. You can see I started to fill in some of the antenna or aerial holes that aren't required on the RAF one. I've been lazy here and used squadron green putty, but on this one I needed to use plastic card. That was created by a bit of tracing paper, placed over the hole, taped down, and then with a bit of graphite lead just smudged around the edges till they graphite caught the edges. Take it off, some plastic card, take the plastic card down securely, and then the tracing paper over the top, and then with a brand new scalpel blade just scored round the edge. I didn't cut it out, I just scored, and then just popped it out. Slight clean around the edges and then glued in. There's a few hairline areas that I'll fill in, sand off, and then I can re-rivet going straight across. So now 90% of the body's done, I can concentrate on these fairings now. My original idea was to add these fillets while these were off, just add them to the body. And then my other idea was to, well, I'll glue the fairings onto the body and then attach them that way. And then I thought, no, I'll go halfway. I'm going to tack the fairings in place. Just in case I have any issues, I can take them off. What I mean by that is that a lot of these fillets go very close to the bottom of the windows. If I get any issues, any problems, it just gives me this option of I can take these off. For whatever reason, I don't know yet. Right, another change of plan. I'm not going to add these fillets while they're attached to the body. After messing around with them attached to the fuselage, it was just getting very messy around there. The other thing I've done as well, let's start at the beginning. So I was cutting some fillets out, various lengths. This one's 4mm and this one's 6mm in depth or height or whatever you want to call it. And just dry fitted them and mess around, making sure that they're clear of the windows and that the fillet goes halfway through the gauges. So that's my guideline for where the fillet starts. So the 6 I think is too big and the 4 is too small, so that leaves me with 5mm. A bit of plastic card to make into a fillet. While I was test fitting and messing around, I knew I would have an issue with these areas round here. Focus, come on. Round here and round here. So what I've done, I found a panel line, cut down and then chopped it out. Same for the other side. Found a panel line, come on. Found a panel line and chopped it back. So I've got rid of that curvature. So when I put my fillet on, we should be okay with blending that into this here, and the same with round here, blending it in. So I did the strips last night. Drew a black pen line going through the centres of the gauges. So that gives demarcation to line up the bit of plastic strip. So we're still flapping at the top here. And the next thing to do is to place this on the body and see what we get. Hopefully seating against the side of the body there, and then I can just glue it in place. I'll still have these areas to sort out at the front and at the back, but I feel I'll be better resolving those when these are attached to the side of the body. Brand new scalpel blade, and gently cut out these semicircles, which was a nightmare. So I started at the left hand fairing. So I've glued the front, let that set, and then work my way along. Then deal with the fillet later. Right, there's good news and bad news. I'll leave the bad news till last. Fairings all been glued on, as I said just previously. I worked along, glued a bit, let it dry, glued a bit, let it dry, glued a bit, let it dry. For the simple reason it needed being held in position, sort of thing. So by the time I got to here, there was a clamp at least on here to hold it in position. So there was what seemed to be a slight sprain, but for whatever reason it was easily rectified. It wasn't massive. I've taken the protective pieces I had on and just put some tape on just to stop things like me splashing glue around and sanding around here, to keep these nice and clean and unmarked, especially around this top fillet here when working, because they're quite close to the bottom of the windows. I've cheated a bit around here. I've used some squadron green putty just to finish that fillet off there and at the front there. I've also added a bit of a curve round here. The kit's part, it looked a bit severe, quite a right angle. And looking at photographs, there seems to be a bit of a blend there. So it needs a bit more sanding, but just so it seems a bit more smoother transition. Both sides are done. I've just got a bit more sanding to do. And once all the sanding's done, I shall add paint again around all these areas just to see for any blemishes. Now the bad news. All that effort on these filler caps and these, well, I call them gauges, they're all in the wrong position. That filler cap there should be in the middle of these two gauges, and I think the gauge there should be first before the cap. But I was looking at the Chinook 7A 705, I think it was number 18 squadron, and it had this layout. So I'm not too sure whether this layout's an early version and the other ones are later. That'll go for both sides. So it's just something I'm going to have to live with now. It's a shame all that effort to try and make these a bit more accurate, and it was a waste of time really. Other than being lowered, it's a shame. It's a shame I didn't know that at the time, but that's my fault. I should be paying more attention. So I'm going to finish off those sides, as I said, just add some paint to the seams, and then I can start thinking about areas like this where the winch would go. I'm not going to add the winch, but I'm going to add the attachment points to the side. I do keep finding odd aerials here and there. There was one there that I've taken off. So still a fair bit to do. So I'm going to leave it here now, and I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you for the next one.